It's Ultimate Combat Radio, brought to you by Aztec Highway on 1280 and 97.5 The Zone.
All right, you ready? Dig it.
Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidham here, talking a little mixed martial arts at Leatherheads in Draper. We're broadcasting live down here, and if you haven't been here, it's located inside the VF Factory Outlet Mall, right next to, ironically enough, the Ultimate Combat Training Center. So sometimes we may punch each other in the face for a few hours, get a little thirsty, and then drift on over here.
Oh, man, I think you're doing it all backwards.
Well, yeah, you
Get
might
a few
be,
drinks, then go punch each other in the face.
Be right there,
I got to tell you, man, this big screen's going to be awesome watching Brock Lesnar get his face punched in. So.
Oh, we'll see.
All right, this segment is brought to you by Aztec Highway. Get it your way at the highway, WDFA. And, as promised, we always like to deliver some of the biggest names in mixed martial arts, and there is none bigger in his head. No, I'm just kidding. There are none bigger than Kyacey Uscola. Ice cold, and I've been talking so much smack on Facebook about this last man standing tournament. I'm predicting Ice Cold is going to walk away the victor, and so he better. And I understand we've got him on the line. Kyacey, are you there, my man?
I am. What's up, brother?
Kyacey, you've got to come through for me. I've got a lot on the line here.
Hey, I'm going to do everything I can. I think I'm the favorite in the deal, too, so that's why I'm doing this.
Kyacey, you sound like you're sleeping on me. Did we wake you up?
I'm sorry. I just watched a little Bill O'Reilly from Fox News.
Oh, Lord. So now Kyacey and I have been sparring a little bit on Facebook as well.
I bet you guys have.
Love that.
He's a conservative. Kyacey Uscola. Who would have thought it? And not only is he conservative, he's ultra-conservative. And he's a Sean Hannity.
An ultra-conservative that lives in California?
Can you believe it? Now, Kyacey, I'm looking forward more to the after party where you and I are going to sit down and have a verbal sparring match over politics.
Sounds good. You'd think you'd have some different point of views coming out of Salt Lake City there, Mike, but yeah, I was surprised myself.
They have ruined me down here. They have made me bitter. I'm a bitter, angry little liberal. So now, Kyacey, where have you been? Now, we were talking before getting you online here. Was the last fight you had, was that against Jerome Hatch? Was that your last fight?
No.
Okay,
no,
so
I just flew back from Russia last week. I just took like a 3-day flight down there, a 3-day notice fight, last-minute deal. Went out there, made some good money and took a good ass kicking for it. But it was entertaining, all the least.
Well, we have a Russian representative on our radio program here, Robertina. Did you meet any nice Russian women in Russia?
The Russian women are beautiful. I don't know what's wrong with the Russian dudes, though. They look like dwarfs. Like the women are way taller than them. I don't know what to do with. The gene pool is all messed up down there.
You can't complain about it, though, man. The genes are moving in the right direction, right?
Right. I had a good time. The Russians always take care of you.
So now you said you made some good money there, so we're expecting you to be buying the drinks after. And, you're going to win the tournament here as well, so you're going to have a little bit of pocket change.
That's the plan. Mike. I plan on buying a couple rounds, with some winnings. So
Kyacey,
that's definitely the plan.
I told these guys that I think this one-round format fits your style well. Do you agree?
That's why I'm so jacked about it. You know what I mean?
I figured you would be.
Especially being, the elevation you guys are. You guys are, 4,300 feet. Pretty high up there, so it'd be a pretty tough task for me to go 3 rounds, 3 fights in one night. In fact, I know I couldn't. So
that's why we think so
clearly. One round, I know I can swing.
So now, who do you think is your biggest competition in the tournament?
I just scouted the dudes the other day. I think that Kyle Jackson's tough, but him and Melendez. But really, I'm a bull in the first round. I mean, I don't think anybody can really hang with me, especially at that weight, 175. So I just think I'm just going to run over people in the first round. But if there's any competition, I think it's going to be that Kyle Jackson. And I need to get back with Brandon Melendez, and I hope somehow Jerome Hatch gets in the mix, because I owe him an ass kicking.
Well, now, Kyacey, let's talk about that a little bit. So I've seen many different Kyacey Uscola show up to fight. I've seen the guy that comes out, he's kind of tentative because you're pacing yourself because, you realize your own shortcomings. And I've seen Kyacey Uscola come out and be a bull. So is that your strategy? You're going to come out here and try to bull people through for a solid round?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not just going to, I can puke after the 5 minutes, I don't care, but for that 5 minutes, I'm going balls to the wall.
Okay, and then we talked earlier a little bit about this too. You were clearly the better fighter when you've met Brandon Melendez before, but you got knocked out by him. Is it going to be some sweetness getting that revenge? Is that something that you feel that is kind of what makes this tournament a big deal for you?
That and the fact, it's back. I know a lot of people over in Salt Lake City. I got a lot of people coming over from my hometown, Burley area. And, anytime I get to go back over there and fight, in front of my family and friends and like true fans, it's fun.
Well, there are a lot of people that like you a lot here. That's true. You do have some good fans here. And, that's the thing about it, Kyacey. I don't know how many people that you have coming down. I think you have a solid fan base just right here in town.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Kyacey's name came up the other night in front of my girlfriend, and she said because of his Ultimate Fighter display, and somebody brought him up, and she said, "Oh, Brandon's a fan of Kyacey's," and I said, "I'm not a fan of Kyacey Uscola. Kyacey stays at our house. I'm his friend, and don't call me his fan." But I had to correct her.
On my couch. He's not.
I had to correct her in front of the people, but truly, I am a Kyacey Uscola fan. Despite our relationship, just watching you on The Ultimate Fighter, you're probably my favorite MMA character.
Didn't he get his junk bit by a dog or something? If I remember right.
I think that was after the show.
That was, yeah.
Well, now if you were a fan of his, he'd be sleeping in your bed with Monique.
That's right, dang it.
Hey, Kyacey, I got a question.
Hey, I don't even want to go there. I've heard some strange sounds coming from that bedroom. I'm not
Hey, Kyacey, I got a question. How does it work with the? Is it winner take all with the pay, or does if you get to top 3 you get paid, or how does it work with this tournament?
The first round is whoever wins gets paid $1,500. Second round, whoever wins gets $1,500, and then the third round, whoever wins gets $3,000. In my division, I believe the heavyweight's a little different.
Okay,
a little bit lighter on the pay scale, but.
Because we've heard previously that it was winner take all in some tournaments, so
I've heard a lot of different things, but I think the
you know what, I did read that, and that made me look over my contract again, but I'm pretty certain I'll walk away with some money.
did you have a manager look over that contract for you? Or
No, I just did. It's an easy one. It's 2.5 pages. I can manage it.
So you being a grown man, you're able to do that all on your own?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, there you go.
I did go to college, Mike. This conservative did go to college.
This is not directed at you at all, Kyacey. We've been debating on this show whether managers are needed at all, and I'm a big advocate for saying, look, grown men don't need other grown men telling them what they can and can't do. But, for whatever reason, I think some of these fighters feel insecure. They need another man to represent them, and I was just glad to hear that you're man enough to do it on your own.
Yeah, that's another thing, too, I wanted to discuss is there's so many managers out there that just ruin people's careers, that people have good potential, good whatever, and they'll get under a guy's wing, they get paid, the guy wants his chunk, they'll throw him to the wolves, or vice versa. The guy doesn't find a good manager, tries to set his own fights up, doesn't really realize what he's getting into, so the manager deal is a big thing in MMA, and just understanding the whole aspect of what records mean and versus who versus who type of deals. But they're very important, but yet you got to be careful about who you pick.
Yeah, that's the big thing is if you're going to get somebody who knows what the heck they're doing and that can actually bring something to the table. Well, Kyacey, look, man, I appreciate your input on that, and I appreciate you joining us on the program. I think Brendan's got one more question for you.
Who do you pick for tonight's fight?
I've got Lesnar in the second, either triangle choke or arm triangle or ground and pound. I've got Cerrone with the knee to the chin, first or second.
All
Good
right.
stuff, my man. Well, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
All right, Mike, take care.
All right, good stuff. Kyacey Uscola right there. Former Tough cast member, former Ultimate Combat fighter, all-around good guy. He's a guy that you can't help but cheer for. I'm looking forward to having him come down here, and I'm looking forward to having him come right down here to Leatherheads after the big show down in Orem, because you know there's nowhere to drink down there, so you have to come back up here and have a good time.
This is like the closest spot we could get to.
This is the spot, and once again, if you have to stumble on over to the gym, you're right within stumbling business.
I have a feeling once the politic talk starts happening that might be where we end up.
we met him with gloves on over there. Casey's got one more fight on his hands.
Yep.
He's pretty strong in his views. And so am I.
He is, and yes, you are. What's cool about Kyacey is he's surrounded by people who don't share his views, and he doesn't care.
Right.
And so are you.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I got in a pretty good one with some guy on Facebook earlier.
Who don't you get in a good one with on Facebook?
Tebow praying and stuff. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. We're going to continue that conversation on another talk radio show. All right, well, I understand we're trying to get Ty Lee on the line, and Ty Lee is in the heavyweight division, as we talked about. And
Still don't have him yet, Colin.
We understand we don't have him just yet. But
why is it that every time his name is brought up, there's a ton of controversy, and people are so activated by that? I honestly don't know anything about the guy.
He's a very polarizing figure, if you will. You know, that's the term that people use about me a lot. He speaks his mind. And, you know, Ty's the kind of guy that you'll know if he likes you and you'll know if he doesn't, you know. And so you have to respect that. But he's a kid. He's much like Kyacey. And I remember Kyacey before he went on Tough. And Kyacey always thought in his head he was a world champion. He always thought he was going to be at the top of the food chain, and Ty's that way. Ty feels like, and he makes no qualms about it. He has no problem telling you that he's the best there is. So,
and do you know if he's been active in his fighting career lately? Or
I don't think he has. I think, you know, he's kind of fallen off the face for a little bit. But Ty's the kind of kid that he's never really trained with a team. I mean, I think he was with Throwdown for a short time, but he's not really one of those guys that needs to be in the gym training with a team. He's just one of those tough guys. But, you know, we talked about the people that are in this tournament. These guys are tough guys with some skills.
Let's break. Just getting his voicemail.
All right. Well, it sounds like we're not going to get Ty. At least maybe not for now. We're going to try to get him in the next segment. We'll go ahead and take a break. When we come back, well, before we take off, really quickly, who's got a number one story of the year for 2011?
My number. Can you guys hear me now?
Get over there.
Okay, my number one is definitely UFC buying out Strikeforce.
Okay, the acquisition, they get bigger. The what do they call it? The strong get stronger and the weak get weaker, and they really did. They got bigger, and so that is a big story.
I think they call it a monopoly. I'm not sure, but
they call it that. But you know what I call it? I just call it getting bigger, man.
Yeah.
Doing your thing. All right, well, good stuff. I like it. Well, if you have an opinion on that, feel free to give us a call. 470-57 or 670-1280 is the studio line. We'd love to hear from you. We got a lot more Ultimate Combat Radio when we come back.